This program was made possible in part by contributions to your PBS station from viewers like you. Thank you.
When we live with a spirit of love and a sense of purpose, we ultimately wind up in a place called happiness.
Dr. Michael Brown, speaker, writer, professor, and pastor, has been helping millions of people find their purpose and express their love for more than 40 years.
In all likelihood, what you dream about is within your reach right now.
His 5 simple and effective steps have helped people move from boredom to passion, from fatigue to energy, from loneliness to friendships, to feeling truly connected to their family, friends, and the world around them.
Either you will find happiness, or it will find you.
Please join us for 5 steps to a loving and purposeful life with Dr. Michael Brown.
Thank you. Thanks. Hi, I'm Michael Brown, and it is a privilege to be here with you. Thanks for coming. Today, I want to share with you 5 steps to a loving and purposeful life. The steps we will look at are dare to dream and dare to do, believe and achieve, never a time better than now, miracles are all around, and our choices determine our outcome. Why are those so important? They're important because those steps will take you from boredom to passion, from why should I even bother to I can't wait to get started, from fatigue to energy, from crawling out of bed and dragging yourself into the day to getting out of bed with excitement and anticipation, from loneliness to friendships, from feeling left out and left behind to feeling connected and included, from singing the blues to actually having the kind of life that makes you want to sing and maybe even dance. Does that sound good?
Yes.
When we follow those 5 steps, when we live with a spirit of love and a sense of purpose, we ultimately wind up in a place called happiness. How do I know this formula works? Well, if you haven't noticed, I'm not exactly a millennial. I've been around the block a few times. I have spent over 40 years in the people business. In that time, as J.K. Simmons puts it, we know a thing or two because we've seen a thing or two. I have seen people at their best and their worst, their highest and their lowest, their happiest and their saddest. And observing that, I've learned a thing or two. One thing I have learned beyond doubt or debate is that the happiest people I have ever known, in fact, the only truly happy people I have ever known, are those who live with the spirit of love and a sense of purpose. Today, I want to show you how to find that. So here's step 1. Dare to dream and dare to do. Anything meaningful in life begins with a dream. That's what calls us, crafts us, and propels us into a new kind of future. Everything we're talking about today begins with naming your dream. So let me ask, what do you want most of all in life? Psychologists tell us that despite the numerous ways we may be different, there is one thing we all have in common, and that is the desire to be happy. If that's your goal, where you want most of all to be, then you have to travel the right road. Do you remember the advice of the Cheshire Cat to Alice? If you don't care where you're going, then any road will get you there. But you do care, don't you? You long to wind up at a place called happiness, am I right? Well, if so, then there's only one road that will take you there, the road of a loving and purposeful life. So, the first step toward the life we say we want is to dare to dream. Confess to yourself what you want your life to be. But then, dare to do. Make it your purpose to live what I call the love principle. And happiness, fulfillment, satisfaction with life is what you will receive in return. Let me show you what that looks like. Not long ago, I visited in an elementary school in one of the largest cities in America. The school is located in an economically challenged urban area. In a second grade classroom, I met with a number of volunteers who visited that class twice a week to tutor and mentor the children. They read to them, visit with them, listen to them, help them with their assignments, and become almost additional parents to them. The principal told me that not all that long ago, the test scores for her children were among the lowest in the city. But once the adult volunteers got involved, everything changed. Their test scores suddenly became the highest in the entire city, and the morale of the kids increased just as much. One of the fascinating things that inspired me was listening to the volunteers talk about what they were doing with those children. Those volunteers were mostly retired professionals from a wide variety of endeavors. One man who had retired from being a shaker and mover on the national financial scene said to me about his work in that school, "I've never had this much fun in my entire life. When I walk out of this school on Thursday afternoon, I can't wait for Tuesday to get here." The second graders received increased test scores and increased morale from the volunteers, but the adults who loved those kids received joy, a sense of satisfaction, accomplishment, fulfillment. I've never had this much fun in my whole life. Dare to dream of what your best life can be, and then dare to do whatever is required to make it happen. Create a sense of loving purpose. Tutor a child, visit a nursing home, take part in a community project, work on a habitat house, sit with and listen to someone who is lonely, make a call, send an email, help someone who, for whatever reason, is unable to help themselves. Dare to dream, and then dare to do. Here are 4 steps to make this principle a reality. First, know what you want most of all. Name it and claim it. And don't set your sights too low. Do not settle for mediocrity. Hear that. Do not settle for mediocrity. Dare to dream and to dream big. Second, determine what it will take to get from where you are to where you want to be. Then follow that road. You can do that, right? Yeah? Of course you can. It's not that hard to identify what you want and how to get there. Once you've figured that out, don't wait for happiness to come to you. It's your job to go to it. Third, on a daily basis, take specific actions that will help make your dream come true. Remember, too vague or too general is just too bad. Instead, strategize, specify, target concrete actions that will bring concrete results. Fourth, to whatever degree possible, begin living as if you were already where you want to wind up. What if your dream is to have a stronger relationship with your spouse, your children, or your grandchildren? What if your dream is to make a difference in your community? Or in a too often broken, divided world, to be part of creating a culture of kindness? Then start by imagining what that would look like and feel like, as if you are already doing what you dream of. Then begin to live as if that were already your reality. Let the dream inspire you and motivate you to alter the way you relate to your spouse, to set aside more time for your grandkids, to volunteer with a community helping agency, to start the ripple of kindness that can spread across your neighborhood or business or family or city, one person at a time. To find the life you most desire, moving from boredom, fatigue, loneliness, meaninglessness, to living in a way that makes you get out of the bed every morning with energy, passion, and excitement. You've got to dare to dream, and then dare to do whatever it takes to get you from where you are to where you want to be. Now, step 2 of our 5 steps toward building a loving and purposeful life. This step is believe and achieve. It is an undeniable principle of life that what we believe in fully and deeply, or what we doubt, deny, or dismiss, is usually what we will discover. We call that self-fulfilling prophecies. In other words, in life, most of the time, we tend to find exactly what we're looking for. If you believe you can make a difference by living a life filled with love and purpose, you will make a difference. If you believe that you can love your way to happiness, you will become happy. And at some level, maybe as important as anything else at all, this journey to a new and empowered life always begins with believing in yourself. So, here are 5 things you have to do for you. 5 ways of believing in yourself in order to achieve your dreams. First, release yourself from the past for the future. Former mistakes, even guilt, can be one of only 2 things: either a prison cell or a classroom. That's it. Either we allow the mistakes and missteps of our yesterdays to hold us captive, to lock us away from the potential joys of our tomorrows, or we learn the lessons that our mistakes can teach. Lessons about what not to do next time or what not to leave undone. Then, having learned the lessons, we graduate from that classroom, take our diploma, leave our sense of disappointment or guilt behind, and move on to the future. Second, define yourself. No one else knows what it means to be you. You are the only person who has the wisdom or the authority to define who you want to be. Wayne Dyer referred to that as pulling your own strings. You are the only person who knows what it means to be you. And you'll never achieve what you want in life if you listen to negative voices or make the mistake of chasing someone else's dream. Release yourself. Define yourself. Is this something you can do? Yeah? Third, affirm yourself. That means focusing on, here's what I can do, rather than, here's what I cannot. There are certain things we can't do. For example, I'm never going to be the quarterback of a pro football team. Fine, let somebody else take that one on. My job is to determine the things I can do, and in fact, the things I love doing, and then to build my sense of purpose on those. As the popular author Frederick Buechner said so well, where your gifts and passions and the needs of the world converge, there you have found your calling. Find your strengths, claim them. This is what I can do and love to do. Use them to make life better and brighter for others and for you. Affirm, believe in yourself. Fourth, encourage yourself. Turn "you can't" into "I can." And soon you will have turned "I can" into "I did." Release yourself. Release yourself, define yourself, affirm yourself, encourage yourself, and fifth, don't give up on yourself. Don't confuse speed bumps with roadblocks. Speed bumps come, even detours, but they are not the same thing as dead ends. Don't give up. You can have a positive impact on friends and family. You can be a force for good in your community. You can help make the world a better, kinder place. And you can find joys you never even dared to dream of. You can have life in its fullness. But you've got to keep believing in your dream and in yourself. If you do that, you will achieve your dream, or sometimes, if there's a roadblock, you may achieve an even better one. I know you can do this. You just need to get started. I've seen these steps work for people over and over across the years. 5 steps to a loving and purposeful life lead to a place called happiness. So far, we've looked at daring to dream and daring to do, and at the importance of believing in order to achieve. When we come back, I'll show you how to begin realizing your dream right now, and how maybe what you want most is already at your disposal. Please stay tuned.
We're back with 5 steps to a loving and purposeful life with Dr. Michael Brown.
Hi, I'm Michael Brown. We're considering 5 steps to a loving and purposeful life. In the first part of the program, we took a look at steps 1 and 2, dare to dream and dare to do, and believe and achieve. And so, we're ready to move on to step 3, never a time better than now. We all dream of a life that is filled with meaning and happiness. We know what we have to do to get there. We have to practice what I call the love principle, meaning to live with a spirit of love and a sense of purpose. So, if we know where we want to go and what it takes to get there, what are we waiting for? Oh, I'll find the life I want someday. Someday never comes. You know that. Therefore, the time to get started making your dreams come true is this day. There is never a time better than now. So, here's the question we need to keep asking ourselves in order to get where we most deeply want to go. What am I waiting for? I want to be a better friend, a better parent, a better grandparent. I want to make my community or my neighborhood a better, brighter place to live. I want to find a life that's filled with meaning and joy. Cool. Those are great purposes. But if you're not taking the steps needed to achieve those purposes, what are you waiting for? Happiness doesn't just drop into our laps. We have to do our part to attain it. So, if happiness is your goal, and if living a loving, purposeful life is the part we have to do to attain it, then the sooner we begin the journey, the sooner we arrive at the destination. So, here's what you need to do. Every day, become your own life coach. Every day, tell yourself 3 things that will help you do your part to create a loving and purposeful life, making certain that you do those things not someday, but this day. First, make the commitment. This day, I will do something. If only one thing that moves in the direction of fulfilling my dream for life. I will express love to at least one person. I will perform one random act of kindness. I will do something I enjoy in order to nurture my own life and spirit so that I will be able to nurture others. The first thing to tell yourself every day is, this day I will do something. I will jump in the pool. I will take action. I will begin to move in the direction of making my dream come true. This day I will do something. Second, this day I will make that something specific. Don't just tell yourself, I'm going to be more loving, but instead find a concrete way to put love into practice for somebody today. Don't just say, I will embrace a sense of noble purpose, but do whatever you need to do that fulfills a sense of purpose. I have a friend who carries in her purse what she calls her love list. It's a list with several names on it. Names of people she knows who are having a tough time at the moment. They may be going through physical issues, marital problems, parenting difficulties, divorce, grief, financial challenges. Anyway, every day on her lunch hour, she takes her love list out of her purse and phones one name on it, just one. The calls are brief, rarely lasting even 5 minutes. She simply says, I was thinking about you and wondering how you're doing. That's all. My friend told me that she cannot count the times when later on down the road, someone will say to her, you had no way of knowing that I had all but given up hope. But then the phone rang, and it was you. And suddenly I found renewed strength. I was able to hope again. She said to me, every time someone tells me something like that, it's like receiving a transfusion of joy. Think of the difference you can make by doing one kind and loving thing a day for somebody else. And think of the difference it will make in your own emotional world if 365 days a year you receive a transfusion of joy. That's too good to put off. Would you like a transfusion of joy? Yeah, me too. So what are we waiting for? Third, today I will embrace the wisdom of living in the moment. Yesterday is gone. Tomorrow is not here yet. But what we do have is this day, this moment. So, to find life in its fullness, focus on now. What do you want most of all? What will it take to get there? Remember, someday never comes. It is always this day. So, there's never a time like now to get started. Does this sound like a principle that you can start? Yes. Then the best time to start it is this day. The fourth step toward building a loving and purposeful life is to realize that miracles are all around. Does a single one of you desire boredom, fatigue, loneliness, the blues or the blahs? You don't even have to answer that question. I know you want more than that. So do I. We all want life in its fullness, life with passion, energy, friendships, happiness, purpose. When we dream of what life should and could look like, when we know what we have to do to get there, when we begin taking those steps this day, then miracle of miracles, we begin to see that the goal of happiness is not some far off place after all. Instead, it's like the song by Kathy Mattea, knee deep in a river, dying of thirst. What we desire is, in fact, all around us. Usually, we are knee deep in the tools required to build the life desired, if we just pay attention. A dear, long-time, very wise friend of mine lost her husband to a tragic automobile accident several years ago. He left behind his wife and their 6-year-old daughter. Initially, understandably, they were devastated. But after some time had passed and she began to come to terms with new normal, my friend decided, in her words, I will not let tragedy define my child's outlook on life. I will not let her grow up waiting for the other shoe to drop. So she came up with a plan. She found a large jar and covered it with plaster of Paris. Is that even a thing anymore? I don't know, I have no clue, but it was then. Then she gave her daughter a magic marker and had her scribble on it the words, blessings jar. Afterward, every night before bedtime, she would sit with her daughter and have her child identify one good thing that happened that day. Sometimes her child would argue, as we children of any ages often do, nothing good happened today. The teacher wasn't nice. It was too rainy to go outside. My friends didn't sit with me in the lunchroom. Her mother would answer, I know, some days are tough, but even so, surely at least one good thing happened. If nothing more than having a popsicle or playing with your puppy. Name just one thing. And of course, the little girl always could. Once it was done, her daughter would write it on a slip of paper and drop it into the jar. On the last night of every month, mom and daughter would dump all the slips of paper onto the bed, and the child would read them out loud one by one. Each time, once they were done, mom would say, see, sweetheart, life is good. After they'd been doing that a while, often the child would beat mom to the punch. After reading the last slip, she would say, see, mommy, life is good. That mother was creating new mental circuits in her daughter, new ways of looking at and interpreting life. Because of that process, her child began to realize night by night, month by month, year by year, that in spite of the serious pains of life, there are also daily blessings if we just look for them. In time, on the closing night of every month, when the slips of paper were read, mom would add a second statement. Look at all the good things you've written down, she would say. Have you noticed how many of them are about other people and what they did for you or gave to you or said to you? Most of the things in your jar reminds us of how good other people are. You know what I hope, sweetheart? I hope that maybe our names are in somebody else's blessings jar. What a tremendous and loving life lesson she taught her child. That love and goodness and kindness and hope really are all around, and that part of our purpose can be to pass that love and goodness and kindness and hope along to others. Maybe our names will be in someone else's blessings jar. That's the love principle. Love life, pass the love along. There is goodness. There are good people, far more than there are bad ones. Blessings come to us every single day, and there are miracles all around if we just pay attention. So, to see and claim those miracles, you need to do these three things. First, create your own blessings jar. For adults, that can be as easy as keeping a journal next to your bed. Each night before you go to sleep, no matter how uninspiring or difficult the day may have been, write down in the journal at least one good, positive thing that happened. One happy moment. One expression of kindness from somebody. One act of love you observed or received. One caring word somebody spoke. One hug, one handshake, one compliment, one lucky break. Keep track of good things and good people. Then, on the last night of every month, reread the entries in your journal. Do that for 1 month, and your entire perspective on life will be transformed from shadow to light. Second, live life by embracing passion. When I was a kid, whenever I mentioned loving something, loving my dog, loving ice cream, loving baseball, loving some girl at school who in all likelihood didn't even know I existed, my mom would always say to me, if it makes you smile, if it makes you cry, if it makes you dance, if it makes you tremble, if it makes you dream, if it wakes you up in a sweat, if it makes you hope for yourself, if it makes you as hopeful for another as you are for yourself, then it just may be love. So son, grab hold of it, celebrate it, and then share it with somebody. I always thought her words were as poetic as if they had been written by William Wordsworth or Maya Angelou, Chris Christopherson or Joni Mitchell. Mom was talking about passion, not in the limited way we too often define it, but passion for life, for people, for causes, for joy. She was talking about not sleepwalking your way through life, but instead making every new day a new adventure. So, find it, celebrate it, and then share it. Third, find happiness by giving it away. There's a sense of loving purpose for you. Do something every day to be a name in someone else's blessings jar. I used to tell my children, share a smile, wear a smile. Happiness is the one thing we discover only by giving it away. Remember the lesson of the love list. Every time my friend did something to bring joy or meaning to someone else's life, she said it was like receiving a transfusion of joy. In all likelihood, what you dream about is within your reach right now. Many of us are knee-deep in it if we just pay attention. And there's never a better time than now to do what it takes to find the life you want. The ingredients of that life are all around us, all the time. I promise you, the returns incredibly outweigh the investments. When we come back, I'll show you how to create a simple, specific daily plan for making your dream come true.
Welcome back to 5 Steps to a Loving and Purposeful Life with Dr. Michael Brown.
I'm Michael Brown. So far, we've considered 4 of the 5 steps to building a loving and purposeful life. Dare to dream and dare to do. Believe and achieve. There's never a time better than now, and miracles are all around. Step 5 is what it takes to put wheels on the bus. It's what will help you turn the first 4 steps into reality. Step 5 is, our choices determine our outcome. The life you want most of all doesn't just happen. You've got to make the investment in order to receive the return. Personally, for example, I do not like diets. I prefer buffets. And being from the South, I want to see a lot of things on that buffet that are breaded and fried. However, I want to live a long and healthy life. Therefore, I've learned to grill my chicken rather than fry it. Exercise has never been my hobby of choice. My wife, on the other hand, loves it. She will come in from the fitness center and say, I just put in 2 hours and burned 1,000 calories and got my heart rate up to 160. It was great. And I always think, what planet is she from? And yet, knowing the kind of long and healthy life I desire, every day for an hour, I get out of the recliner and onto the treadmill. Our choices determine our outcome. So, choose to dream big and choose to do what is required to make the dream come true. Choose to believe in the dream. Choose to believe that you can achieve it. Choose to get started on your journey now, not to put it off. Choose to focus on the good, positive, empowering things all around you that are tools to help you get where you want to go. And you will have set in motion a voyage of love and purpose that will lead you to a place called happiness. Our choices determine our outcome. Choose the right road, and you will wind up in the right place. To create a loving and purposeful life, and thus to discover happiness, you need to build each day around one question based on the love principle. Each time you're about to make a decision, especially when it involves some other person, ask, is this the loving thing to say or do? If it is, move forward. If it isn't, don't. Choose that question as the GPS that guides you, and it will lead you in the right direction. Create a simple, achievable daily plan and live by it. Dedicate yourself to it new every morning. When you get up, re-up, remembering to build it on the love principle. Is this the loving thing to say or do? So, here are 5 things that your plan needs to include. 5 I will statements. First, I will be an attentive listener. Let me tell you what that means. It means, among other things, not to inquire about someone when you are on the move. I mean, how many times has a person passed you by and said, "How are you?" without ever slowing down long enough for you to answer. And you realize that's not a question. It's a way of saying hello. They don't really want to know how you are, your life, your story, your pains, your dreams, your needs. "How are you?" they say, and keep on walking. Attentive and therefore loving listeners stand still. They look people in the eye and they ask the question this way: tell me, how are things with you? Good listeners ask good questions. At a 50th wedding anniversary, I had a moment with the wife. I asked her the traditional question: what's the secret of your long and happy marriage? She is very much in love with her husband, and so she answered, "Roger knows the secret. It's found in 3 little words he has said to me ever since we first began courting." I said, "Oh yeah, the 3 special words. I love you." "No," she replied. "Oh, he says that, and it's important, and I love to hear it, but those are not his 3 words that captured my heart." So I took a second shot at it. "Let me guess," I said, "let me guess. His 3 special words are, let's eat out." That's what she did. She laughed, and then she said, "Ever since we first met, and continuing to this very day, when I am talking to Roger about anything important, anything involving my feelings or opinions, he will say, 'Tell me more.'" Those are his 3 words. Tell me more. He asked to know what I think, what is in my heart. And because he values what I feel and say, I know he values who I am. And attentive listeners remember the wisdom of an old song by the Tremolos: silence is golden. They resist the temptation to jump in with a story of their own when someone else is telling theirs. They resist the urge to think, "I can top that. What happened to me is far more engaging and entertaining. You want to hear something really interesting? Then just listen to this." Maybe your story is more captivating or compelling, but that's not the point. The point is that the wife was correct in what she said about Roger. When we indicate to others that we are interested in what they say, we indicate that we are interested in who they are. And that is a powerful seed that can grow relationships, lasting friendships, and abiding love, which will be wonderful results, not just for them, but also for us. Make it part of your action plan. Every day, I will be an attentive listener. Put this on your daily action plan: I will address one issue. No one can do everything, but everyone can do something. Find something you can do each day to make the world a little better and a little brighter, and do it with conviction. And don't worry if there are 100 worthy projects crying out for your attention. If you try to do all things, you won't do anything well. So, throw your energy into one worthy purpose every day, one area where you can have an impact. Do something to make the world better, and your own emotional world will become better in the process. Third, part of your daily plan. I will at least attempt to forgive someone. This is not easy. I get that. Trust me, I understand. I have as much trouble letting go of past hurts as the next person. And yet I have seen this over and over across the years. Hanging on to bitterness or resentment about someone else is malignant. It takes all the joy out of life. And so, the more seriously someone has harmed us, the more seriously we need to forgive them. Because otherwise, their memory continues to harm us. And that continues to give them power over our lives that they simply do not deserve. Yeah. Happiness is a choice we make, and for so many people, that ultimately means choosing to let go of resentments because they are just too heavy a burden to bear. 4, put this on your daily plan. I will see rainbows instead of rain. Virtually all the positive thinkers and the philosophers and the psychologists and the poets, all the seers and sages of the ages, agree that our attitude forms our experience of life. There are, for example, undeniable relational benefits that come from practicing positivity. You want to move from loneliness to friendships? Then let others see you as a positive person, not denying life's harsh realities, but not surrendering to them either. Let them see you as a person who, despite those realities, can also find the hopeful and inspiring aspects of life. You want to break free from loneliness? If you see the bright side of life, others will be drawn to you like a magnet. Why? Because they will see in you a life they want for themselves, and they will believe that you can help them find it. Additionally, countless studies from major medical centers and medical schools agree that a positive attitude results in health benefits related to things like the musculoskeletal system, the immune system, the body's ability to defend itself or lessen the effects of migraines, ulcers, diabetes, cardiovascular illness, high blood pressure, insomnia. In fact, a recent study from the NIH even stated that living with a negative attitude, and especially, like we said a moment ago, with unresolved bitterness and anger, increases inflammation in the brain, which many scientists suspect is one of the 2 leading causes of Alzheimer's disease. So, see the rainbows. Look for the good in life. And don't forget to laugh every day. Laughter is like medicine. It really is. It releases endorphins, which are helpful and healing. If you want to find a place called happiness, train yourself to look for rainbows. A 5th thing that needs to be on your daily plan is, I will exercise intentional self-care so that I will be able to care for others. Every day, you've got to do something to feed your own spirit if you hope to be able to feed anyone else's. Now, maybe for you it's going to a movie, or playing bridge, or golfing, or reading, or hiking, or biking, or hanging out with your grandkids, or taking a nap. The point is, unless every day you take care of you, in time there won't be enough essential you left to take adequate care of anyone or anything else. So, here's what I want you to do for the next month. Make a daily plan. Focus on a limited number of achievable goals that are inspired by the question, is this the loving thing to say or do for others and for myself? Include the things we just mentioned. Then, stick to the plan. Do not take a day off. If you do that, at the end of 1 month, I guarantee you will feel like a new person. In fact, you will be a new person. Remember, choose the right road and you will wind up in the right place. I've always believed that love is a verb. It's not just something we feel, but something we do about what we feel. Deepak Chopra said, love is a choice we make, and it is. Making that choice, choosing to be motivated by the love principle, will create your sense of purpose in life. And that loving purpose will lead you to happiness. I have seen that formula proven over and over again in more than 40 years in the people business. I know it has worked for others. And I know it can work for you. So, here is how you can move from boredom to passion, from fatigue to energy, from loneliness to friendships, from singing the blues to finding a life worth singing about. The way to do that requires living with a spirit of love and a sense of purpose. And here's how to make that happen. Dare to dream and dare to do. Believe and achieve. Never a time better than now. Miracles are all around. Our choices determine our outcome. Remember those 5 principles. Write them down. Learn them. Put them into action on a daily basis. And I make you a promise. Either you will find happiness or it will find you. Thanks for being here.
This program was made possible in part by contributions to your PBS station from viewers like you. Thank you.
Be more PBS.